We're talking about life after Brendan. So, in a hypothetical situation where Jurgen Klopp comes in to be the new manager for the Liverpool Football Club, Dave, what happens to the existing squad?
So, Steve, Jurgen Klopp was at Dortmund for the best part of 8 years. He won the league twice. He came second twice. And in one of the years he came second, he got to the Champions League final. And he played a very similar style, throughout that time. A back four comprised of a true partnership in the middle of an aggressive front foot centre half and a sweeper who could also dominate in the air, but was primarily, that quick cover defender. He flanked them with two aggressive fullbacks. Behind them, he put a vocal leader of a goalkeeper. In front of them, he put two midfield players. One, a deep line playmaker. The other, an aggressive, mobile defensive midfielder. The players we have fit many of those roles. If you look at the centre-back pairing to begin with, Mats Hummels and Neven Subotic, Sacco would fit the Subotic role best. That aggressive front-foot defender, good on the ball, calm, talks a lot, can look and actually looks a little awkward like Subotic does, but the people overblow that looks awkward on the ball, so isn't good on the ball. Sacco's really good on the ball. So Sacco fits that role. The two aggressive fullbacks were already sorted. Nathaniel Klein's an aggressive, end line to end line right full. Alberto Moreno's the exact same on the left. So we need a right-sided centre-back. The ideal one is probably Benedict Huides. He's not the quickest now. That's the one area he lacks. He's not the quickest, but he reads the game really well. A bit like Carragher. If we were going to buy one, I would say go buy him. Or Nicolas N'Kolo, who is at Marseille. His contract actually ends next summer. So I'd actually go ahead and say that N'Kolo, if we want to buy someone, Nicolas N'Kolo makes a lot of sense for the right-sided centre-back role. We need a goalkeeper. I don't think he'd be too fond of Mignolet. He's not aggressive enough. He's not as vocal. He's not vocal enough. He's not good enough with the ball at his feet. I think he'd go German. I think he'd go maybe for Timo Horn, who's just a phenomenal talent. I think he fits what Klopp would want to do. And that takes care of your back five. Then you're looking at the two in front. Now, we don't have a deep line playmaker on our books. We also don't have a, mobile defensive midfielder. We have Lucas, who is a static defensive midfielder who moves around like a ship turning. I think if you look at say he had Bender, and first he had Sahin, then he had Gundogan. I think if you look at what they do as a pair, he could get the same out of Emre Can and Jordan Henderson as a midfield duo. And I think
great shout. That's a great.
I think that's what he would go with as his. I think they'd be adequate in terms of shielding the defense. I think they add going forward, and I think there's so much development to come from Jean that, really and truly, we're very blessed to have a player of his quality at the club and of his potential. So that's what I think he would go with. Now, up front, to skip the three behind the one up front, I think if a fully fit Sturridge is perfect for his system. He likes to play with two creative goal-scoring midfielders and one pacey winger-cum striker. Now, we have two creative goal-scoring midfielders in Firmino and Coutinho. If you look at the team he had when it was Götze and Kagawa, they were fantastic together. Now it's Mkhitaryan and Kagawa, and they're fantastic together as well. I would say the Mkhitaryan-Kagawa pairing is more similar to what Firmino and Coutinho would be. And a lot of times people say, he just plays 4-2-3-1, he just plays 4-2-3-1. And he does, but it's not about how many players you have there, it's where he locates them, and he'll often have the two attacking goal-scoring playmakers move more centrally, and have that wide player, you know, float side to side and in behind the striker and off and up with the striker, so it becomes a box midfield, or it becomes a 4-2-2-1-1, and it's the key role of that wide attacker, the pacey winger come striker type. But we also own a guy called Lazar Markovic, and
Interesting.
Lazar Markovic has everything needed to play that role. Markovic has, in my opinion, more talent and more potential at the same age than Royce showed at the same age. And for people out there who say, "Oh, well, he doesn't score enough goals or he isn't good enough," none of you had heard of Marco Royce when he was 20 to 21 years old. At 21 is when he moved to Gladbach, never mind to Dortmund. So bring back Markovic.
Dave,
Um,
can I ask you something? I look at this lineup as you talk about what Klopp would do with it. That sounds like a really exciting team. I think Liverpool fans would love to see that. The question I have is, I understand how they score goals in this setup, but can that setup prevent goals? Because one of the things that Klopp's done really well, is that Dortmund can sit back and absorb pressure under him very well.
yeah,
Does this setup here have the ability to absorb pressure?
we know Henderson can do a lot of grunt work, and anyone who's seen Jean play over the years knows that he can play, in a two-man midfield and help the defense be pretty decent. His last season at Leverkusen, he was paired with the other Bender brother, and they were excellent together as a pairing over the second half of the season. There's some myth that he played left back all year, but he didn't. He played about 6 games left back. Otherwise, he was in the midfield. And Henderson and Bender have similar enough styles. Bender's Bender's the mirror to Henderson in terms of he's more like, if you split them half and half, Henderson's probably 35% defensive, 65% attacking. Bender's the other way around. He's 65% defensive and 35% attacking. But because of what the Chan is still raw material. Like, we can mold him now into whatever we want him to be. He's young enough and talented enough and big enough, physically, that you could put him as a shield and he would learn to play the role. Um, that is one of the positions I do think. Like, I would look at the team and say the Klopp would definitely want 4 players from what we currently have on our squad, those who are playing this year.
Hmm.
But I think Markovic can fill one of those roles. If that's the case, then maybe he looks for a midfielder as well. I'm almost certain he'll want a goalkeeper. I'm 99% certain he'll want a centre back, and I think he'll want a striker.
Okay, so
So,
Klopp comes in. Let's say Klopp comes in uh, before Halloween. Just throwing that out there, or
mm,
sometime in the first half of the season, and gets his hands on this club. Is he able, without really, maybe one transfer window in, to take this team to top four? And if not, then what's the timeline, you think, for a
I
manager like
think
Klopp turning this club around?
to assess the squad, to put players into positions that they're going to play long term, and then next summer you go out and you find the 3 or 4 players to fill, the glaring weaknesses, and then you tack next season from the off. You go at next season from week one. You go at next season like it is, do or die. Like, it's the only season you're going to get, and you get us top four.
All right, and certainly, no one would be happier than our own Nina Kauser if Jurgen Klopp was to be named the manager, and there'd be lots of happy
Nina
Liverpool fans.
already has 47 Klopp is here selfies ready to go as soon as the announcement is made. I have that from good sources.
From good sources. All right, so that's Klopp.